Tyler Polumbus.
Looked like you might have played some football.
Scott Hastings.
Now Hastings wants a piece.
Josh Dover.
This kid's on fire.
This is Polumbus, Hastings, and Dover. PhD on Altitude Sports Radio 92.5.
Woo! They go to the run game. Oh, look at the speed of Breece Hall. He's done it again. Breece Lightning, 62 yards for the touchdown. Murray trying to power in. He does. Touchdown, Denver. Murray caps off a long Broncos drive. It's a 3rd and 16 now. The Jets maintain possession. The pressure once again. And this time they get to Wilson. Under a heavy rush, Draymond Jones gets home for Denver. A loss of 5. Jacobs having a huge season, by the way, for the Raiders. Rippin hit as he throws. Intercepted. Picked off by the Jets. LaMarcus Joyner down the sideline and out of bounds. The Jets have 8 interceptions on the season, topping last year's total already in Week 7. Broncos looking for 3 yards to keep this drive alive. Gordon in the backfield. Rippin rifles it, end zone, incomplete. Cortland Sutton got lost in the sauce. The Jets hold up defensively in the waning moments.
Hey, good afternoon to you, Denver.
Denver.
Yeah, it's a drunk EJ. That fits the mold today. It is day 1 of PhD. Every time I say it, I'm going to say in your face, Lombardi. We are doctors of sport here, starting at noon every day with the big fella Tyler Polumbus. I'm Josh Dover. Scott Hastings will be along here in just a few moments. But man, welcome.
We're
day
off
1.
and rolling. What do you know?
Go.
I love it.
And we get Broncos to overreact to on day number 1.
Oh, my gosh. I mean, if you guys want to hear a meltdown, we can do it right now. I mean, I think we ought to try to wait like a segment before we have a total meltdown. But, PhD, doctors are in the house. Let's go.
Yes, it's exciting.
Well, is Scott in the house yet? No?
Not yet. Day 1, he had to run, and Dempsey's running down to his room, and Dempsey owes us coffee or at least lunch, bare minimum, for this mistake here on day 1. But yeah, we got a ton to get into. We are certainly going to overreact to the Broncos yesterday and what we witnessed down at Mile High. Big weekend for the Nuggets and Avalanche. Week 7 will end tonight with Monday Night Football. Isn't another craptastic game we got going on tonight? The Bears and the Patriots.
Yeah, should be awesome.
This evening. But it is a Manning cast. I don't know how you feel about that, but I'm a big fan of that broadcast.
I love it when we got bad games. I mean, when we got bad games, it's the only thing that keeps you tuning in, right? So yeah, I find it a little bit distracting, like during the really good games, or when at least when the Broncos are on. I'd rather watch the traditional broadcast, but love the Manning cast. Other than that.
It is exciting. You were all over the place this weekend. The 3 of us were all at Ball Arena Saturday. You were doing the thing Friday night with the Avalanche.
Dude, I was like Peyton Manning out there.
Yeah, right.
I mean, I didn't know I was going to get this kind of red carpet treatment, but I kind of felt like I was maybe John Elway, Peyton Manning. I had like the red carpet of all red carpet rolled out. Got introduced out there. Had Rocky bring me out to the court. Had my son out there. Got to toss a couple footballs into the crowd. Got to do it all. It was I got to bang the drums.
That was cool.
Now hold on.
That was cool.
Now this is important. I got to know. Were you listening? Were you?
Yeah. I was in the suite with the guys at the time watching you do it.
Was I on beat?
You were pretty good. You kind of had like
pretty good for a white guy.
You know how we do. Yeah, you had that upper bite lip of the white guy going, but it looked good. It looked good.
I had some accusations.
Scotty, welcome. You are where you at? You're in Portland today for a Nuggets game this evening.
Rainy, cold Portland.
Sounds about right. You bring a flannel?
I didn't bring a flannel, but I did bring my little light jacket that's warmer than it looks. One of those puffy ones, but it's real super light.
Yeah.
Right.
I did bring that, and it did have a stocking cap in it, so when I walked up and got a cup of coffee an hour or so ago, I was able to stay kind of warm and dry.
I like it.
So that was good. So I had that going for me.
Coffee out in the Pacific Northwest, that's what you do all day, every day.
They did that.
That's the only way you
because
you
it's raining all day.
Yeah.
That's all. It rains all day. That's all it does.
We will talk some Nuggets. Certainly want to preview what happens tonight. Portland surprising a lot of people in the NBA, so we'll touch on that. Avalanche doing their thing. We got a World Series to dissect here with Philadelphia and Houston getting back again. Scott's Astros are back in the damn World Series, taking on the Phillies.
What's your favorite way to cheat, Scott?
Trash cans?
Any way that helps you win.
Yeah. Okay. All right. I mean, if you're not cheating, you're not trying. I get it.
Yeah.
That's right. You're not rubbing, you're not racing.
Told Scott several times, Tyler, if we ever go golfing, I will cheat, and I will cheat right in front of you.
I don't cheat in golf.
Yeah.
You don't cheat in golf? Well, then you're not golfing.
I mean,
well, you know what? I'll play my own ball and do what I want to do. But if there's bets down, then you don't mess around. Because now that means you're trying. That means you're trying to take money from your buddy.
Yeah, then you cheat when they're not
I don't
looking.
Play that
obviously.
game.
No, can you golf with the buddy without betting? Probably not.
No. Probably not. But no, the weekend was fun.
You can if you play with cheap buddies.
Yeah.
Yeah, me. I'll raise my hand there. It was a lot of fun, Tyler. Friday didn't go the way I think a lot of folks wanted it to go. Nope. They did get right in Vegas the next night. And then the Nuggets on Saturday. Again, we'll get deeper into this, but it was one of those games where, all right, it's Oklahoma City. They're going to make it tough and tight, but you would have liked to see a little bit more on that home opener. But
yeah, it was good to see Jamal out there, though. Yeah, I was on the broadcast for like 2 seconds with Scotty, and Jamal got a little bit banged up for a quick second, and he looked like he handled it all great. The crowd loved having him out there, so win's a win.
Yeah.
Now wait, hold on. You got to justify what you just said.
What's that?
You would have hoped the Nuggets did what on that home opener?
Won.
Oh, that was Josh.
They did win.
Yeah, that was Josh. You said you wanted to see more.
Mm-hmm.
More what?
Offense, beating up on a bad team, playing better, stuff like that.
see that to me, and I was going to explain something to you, and Tyler's new, and I'm having trouble getting on Twitch. Otherwise, you see me staring at the camera.
Yeah.
Tyler, first of all, he doesn't think travel in sports matters because we fly with comfortable things. We don't have to go through the thing. He doesn't understand jet lag and having to do all this stuff. He doesn't understand playing 3 games in 4 nights or 4 games in 6 nights. That shouldn't fatigue guys because they make money. Because money makes the body feel better.
Yeah.
Right. It makes you less tired.
Target's higher. If you guys don't
thought
in
that game played out to me exactly like I thought it was going to be. You got Oklahoma City sitting at home, waiting on the Nuggets. In fact, I talked to the broadcasters. They watched the game. They go, "Dude, what a great game! That was a great game against Golden State." As a basketball fan, that was fun just to watch. And I go, "Cool, yeah." I mean, it really was. And that's a play-hard team that just attacks the basket. They're going to give a lot of people trouble. Just like I said, Utah was going to give people trouble because of the way they play. And, look what they're doing. So that game played out just like I thought it would. And another reason why I said you got to be able to score 120 points on some nights, and they got 122 and took care of business.
120, that's the magic number. And look, I understand you guys have to travel. I just always say Target's hiring if you get sick of that. Because I certainly get sick of the complaining about the travel. So that's all. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, because you've never done it. And that just shows you have, as a human being, you have no empathy for others.
How many guys we have over 20 points the other night? I mean, it was all right.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't like that's
7 dudes are averaging double figures, and Bones I think is right there.
There you go.
Really? Yeah, we'll dive some deeper into that conversation because we'll bring DT and stuff in on some hockey. But it was a Broncos loss again, where they didn't do anything offensively. Coach Hackett comes to the podium just dumbfounded again. He said, "I'm tired of sitting up here and saying the same things."
Yeah, we're tired
of hearing the same things there, Coach Hackett. DT, you got it for us. Let's hear a little bit of Coach Hackett in his post-game press conference telling us the same thing again.
Yeah, I'm sick of being up here saying the same thing over and over again. The opportunities are there, and at some point we got to take them. There's no excuses. We've been in every single game, and we got to win these games. As a team, as the offense, defense, everybody, we've been in these opportunities. We've had these opportunities. We've been in these situations, and it's frustrating being up here having to say the same thing because, like I said, those opportunities are there, and we got to make them. We got to make it. It's that simple. It's the NFL. It's going to be hard. You got to, especially close games, which we've been in, you got to come through and win those games.
Which they don't.
No, they don't. This is the worst offensive production we've had from the Denver Broncos since the Super Bowl. Maybe the worst ever. I don't know. Statistically, it literally might be the worst ever to begin a season. The offense looked the exact same, whether that was Russell Wilson or Brett Rippon out there. I don't know if Russell Wilson's like taking a deep breath because Brett Rippon didn't look any better.
Not my fault.
Like, hey, not my fault, guys. Hey, the Coach Hackett, right? But it does make Coach Hackett look a little bit worse. It does. Like, who's going to take the blame at this point? And you got Hackett out there. I feel like he's getting scared, man. Like he started out the season being aggressive on fourth downs, and you got an opportunity in the second half there to go for it on fourth and one. I don't know if his dad
at midfield at the 50-yard line with 11 minutes to go in the fourth quarter. Now I understand some of the thinking, Tyler, in the sense that they weren't doing anything against your defense either.
No,
but
they weren't.
Eventually, you got to break something.
But Scott, you got to have a mindset. You got to go for it. You're not doing anything offensively, and because you do trust your defense. Okay, fine. If we put our defense in a bad spot, fine. You guys will overcome it for us.
We'll give them three. We'll give them 3 points at the most. Boom, boom, bang, bang. Okay, now we'll go down and score a touchdown. I thought so too. I thought, especially as 11 minutes left in the fourth, and I go, dude, and I think they were right at the 50. And then they had it back again, like at the 7-minute mark, and they had it on the 30, another opportunity. But I thought the one, especially at midfield, 4th and 1, go for it, man.
No doubt.
You suck. The season's over.
No doubt. And Scott, I know you've been there. I know you've been there on teams where things are not going well. You've got a coach that, maybe you don't, he hasn't earned your respect just yet. Or maybe trust. Maybe trust is a better word. He hasn't earned your trust just yet. Well, if you're in a bad season like that and things aren't going well, you want your coach to at least be aggressive, or do you want him to go down looking like he's scared? I mean, what would you respect more when things aren't going well? I know, Scott, I would feel like, hey, we got nothing to lose. Let's go for this thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, let's go down and swing. Well, it's kind of like in the NBA. Listen, I ain't the toughest guy in the world, but I got in a lot of fights, and the reason for because I wasn't afraid to get hit.
Yeah.
And if you're afraid to lose, right at this time, why would Denver be afraid to lose? Which is kind of like getting hit. Why are you afraid? You're 2-5 now.
Yep.
What's the fear? You should be putting the fear of God in all the rest of the teams you play this year, because now you have nothing to lose. You're a live wire. That's how people are, oh, Scott, you were tough. No, I wasn't. I just wasn't afraid. Right?
Yeah.
Now, Broncos have played themselves at 2-5. What are they afraid of? 2-6? Well, so what?
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Yeah, there'll be changes coming. And that's something else. Troy Rank of Denver 7 asked him point blank last night, Coach, you considering taking the play calls? And Dan, I don't know if you have that one, but we'll get to it. He literally said, I don't think that's the issue. He said that.
Yeah, well, you've made your bed. You got to lay in it now. You hired Nathaniel Hackett. I don't know what good it's going to do to pull offensive play callings away from him at this point. You got more faith in Justin Houghton? Have you no, Justin looks like a fun dude to go get some beers with, but you think that he's going to be more productive than Nathaniel Hackett? Hey, at this point, you've hired the guy. I don't know if he'll be the head coach in a year's time, but what are you going to do?
Let's go on the premise that what he said in that first soundbite we just played was right. We're that close. We're, an execution here or there from something happening good, blah, blah, blah. Let's say he was correct in that summarization. I'll say this. I'll give him the bit about. When's the last time you saw a wide receiver go up and make a massive play?
Yep.
When's the last time you saw somebody receiving the football in the passing game just to absolutely dominate and you go, oh, my God, that's going to be on SportsCenter. The offensive line is, whatever it is, what it is. It's a patchwork right now again. And you're playing a running back that was basically on a practice squad 3 weeks ago. Mm-hmm. That's like one of your featured backs, right?
Yeah.
So I've been saying this, Tyler, since the beginning of the season. I don't think they got any playmakers. Everybody said, well, Sutton's I think he's a nice player and maybe the best player you got. But do they got playmakers?
Nah, they don't.
No one breaking the game up. They got nobody.
That's
why you can trade everybody. Yeah, Jerry Jeudy should.
No, yeah, I'm about to say we see him turning it down. We see him. I don't know what the heck happened on that one
second
deep ball.
quarter. He didn't even extend his arms.
I mean, did he just decide I don't want to try? Did he not see the ball?
I told you guys that about 2-3 weeks ago. Remember that one that landed about 2 yards in front of me? He never left his feet
because he didn't see it.
Dude, I mean, when's the last time? Now, Jeudy did make one good catch on the sideline for a first down. Jumped up in the air, caught it, two hands, and brought it to his belly because I don't think he's a hand catcher. But that was a good catch. That was a good catch.
No, the only one with any.
It wasn't break the bank catch.
Yeah, no,
you ain't gonna pay that guy $100 million for that catch.
the only one showing any potential right now is Dulcich. We've only got 2 games. We got 2 games out of him. At least you see.
And even he dropped a little baby, right?
He did.
Yes, he did.
Yeah,
yes, he
did.
And you know,
and I'll tell you what, I didn't think Rippon. Listen, for a backup quarterback that ain't played all year. I thought he was okay. I mean, I don't think you lost the game because of his inability.
Well, he shouldn't be throwing Russell Wilson. He shouldn't be throwing the ball 46 damn times.
No,
and that's on Coach Hackett.
No, didn't they say at halftime?
Backup quarterback. How many times did their quarterback throw it? I didn't got my phone around.
26.
You know, didn't they say at halftime or something during that interview, like, we got to run the ball more, and then you come out, and how many times did they throw it straight coming out of second half?
6 straight. At the end of to start the second half.
What happened?
And then they went 3 straight runs, and then they threw it every time after that.
No, it did work. They were having a little progress there in the second half, but it's unbelievable to hear a coach say, we got to run the ball more. They go into halftime. What happens during that meeting? What happens in that locker room? Because I'll tell you what does happen on just about every single team I've ever been on. You go in during halftime, the coaches have their own little huddle on their own for about 5 minutes. Then they come up to the whiteboard, offense breaks up with defense, and they write out the first 10 plays. So they pre-script the first 10 plays, just like you do for the first half. And so in that script, after saying we got to run the ball more, they come out with 6 straight passes. Now it's working, but really that was the grand plan to let Brett Rippon free.
All right, we got to take our first time
like
out.
I said, I like Brett, and I think, he's a Gary Kubiak. And Tyler, you were a young boy probably when Kubes was backing up Elway way back in the day. But he reminds me of a Kubiak. I think he could be a backup quarterback for 8-10 years here. Pinch starts, do a solid job. I thought he was solid. I thought he was solid yesterday.
He had some overthrows in the beginning of the game. That might have been nerves, though.
Yeah,
that's kind of out of the way.
Yeah.
All right, we'll hit a timeout. We're going to keep this conversation rolling. Obviously.
Hey, you know what? And we'll talk about it. I'd play his ass next week in London.
It's not a bad idea. See if how healthy Russ is.
I wouldn't see Russell Wilson till after the bye week.
I'm good for a Russ break.
Got
a lot of Russ in my life lately.
I got thoughts on that. That's pretty deep. I better save it.
Let's do it,
let's just say Hackett's got something on the line, all right?
Okay, we'll do that next. Plus, we'll hear Hackett answering the question of surrendering play calls, get to some post-game, all that good stuff. I did get a chance to talk to Greg Dulcich. That was the highlight of my evening. We shared some hair tips and things, so we'll get into some of that as the show rolls on. How do you feel, Broncos country? 303-504-0925. Same digits for the Shop Mazda text line as well as the hotline. Hit us up. Let us know how you feel. It's PhD, Day 1 on Altitude Sports Radio.
Yeah, I think we'll always look at everything. I always look at myself first and foremost. If there's something that we all agree that I might hold the team back or anything like that, sure. I don't think that's the case. I think there are plays to be had there. I think we have been in and out of the huddle. Everything, the communication has been really good. But we'll look at everything. We'll always look at everything to try to improve and help this offense.
See, Coach Hackett is saying it as, I don't think that's the case, that him not calling plays would change anything. It kind of came off of, I'm not the problem, is kind of the case, which, that's the correct response, a laugh, because, you're certainly a bit of the problem. Welcome back, PhD in the Bud Light Studios. Tyler Polumbus, Scott Hastings, Josh Dover. We got Dan Tanner and Josh Grismer kicking it with us as well. It was all bad yesterday. Again, I mean, even from you get a touchdown, DMac misses the damn extra point, and I tweeted it out, and the 2 biggest Brand McManus fans on the planet that are Vic Lombardi and Kyle Keefe got after me pretty quick.
Hey, that one. To be fair,
that was on the holder.
That's not on him.
But then he also missed another. It was a long field.
All I know in my one little pool, I had the number 7 and 7, and I would have got paid after the first quarter.
Dude, me too, Hastings. Me freaking too. That's also why I said I was a little emotional.
That adds to the grief.
Yeah. But it was all bad. Look, the Jets came in at 4-2. not a great football team. Zach Wilson is not anything to write home about. I had a couple nice little right joystick moves to get by some defenders, and that was fun to watch, I guess, if you had a Jets shirt on yesterday. But the New York Jets came in here and just it sounds weird to say it, Tyler and Scott, in a 16-9 game. They didn't dominate. They were dominated and still won the football game.
No, there was not a whole lot. I mean, if you want to look for something positive, I guess it's the defense, although they did give up the one 60-yard run, whatever that was.
62-yard.
You can't give that
early
thing up.
On,
but,
then the guy tore his ACL, right?
Yeah. But, the defense is doing their job. It's unbelievable. I mean, actually, the defense is doing more than their job. They've kept a terrible Broncos offense in the game, every single game. I mean, they have had an opportunity to win just about every single game. And just to add salt on the wound, hey, man, I can't stand watching the Seattle updates. I can't stand it. Yeah. I can't stand it. Every time I look on ESPN, and my son's a diehard Seahawks fan because
how'd that happen?
He was born when I was playing in Seattle. I've taken him out for a few alumni events. He got to go on the sideline. He's met Pete Carroll.
Okay.
Actually, Marshawn, he FaceTimes him on his birthday every year.
No way. Dude,
it's cool.
Awesome.
Yeah. He'll spend 45 minutes with him on FaceTime. It's awesome.
Cool.
But anyway, so he's like a diehard Seahawks fan, and Geno Smith is looking like the second coming. I just can't take it.
But it's almost not Geno Smith.
Geno Smith looking like the guy that everybody thought he was when they drafted him way back when, right?
Right.
Geno Smith is in a position where a head coach, Pete Carroll, is putting him in a position to succeed and not asking him to do too much.
No, and you know what drives me nuts is that fundamentally what the Seahawks did was idiotic. I mean, they chose a coach over a quarterback, and that is idiotic. But it's working. It's working.
Yeah, they look like they got over on that.
Let me ask y'all this question, going back to what that statement was with, basically saying not my fault, whatever. Once again, I'm going to play a lot of premises today. Say that premise is correct. We start looking at George Payton then? We start saying, because listen, all the coach does is coach the talents you have on the floor.
Yeah.
Right? All the coach does is coach the people on the field. So if it's not getting done, and it's not the coach's fault, not the quarterback's fault, when do we start looking at George Payton and say, dog, you brought all these dogs in here?
Well, Scott, the George Payton honeymoon, it lasted for a while. I mean, he couldn't mess up. His first draft class was a home run. He passed on Justin Fields. It was a gamble at the time.
He got it right.
But he got it right. And that all his free agents have been great. But now it's just like Elway. Like, if you can't get the quarterback right, well, that's what you're going to go down as. So, this Russell Wilson deal, it's crazy because it's starting to feel like are we stuck with the $250 million quarterback? Are we stuck with that?
There is no out on Russell Wilson until 2027.
No.
Nothing you can do to get yourself out of that situation.
No, and I hear people talk about, we got Walmart money, just move on. No, it's not as simple.
That's not how it works.
Billionaires didn't become billionaires by giving away hundreds of millions of dollars for nothing.
No, but I mean,
I'm still not concerned with Russell Wilson yet.
Really?
I'm still not concerned with him yet.
Concerned?
Do I think he's been? No, I'm not concerned. Do I think he's been great? No, I think he's had some major struggles. He looks like he looks like a rookie almost. Coming into a new situation, he's a fish out of water. Now, I think that when you're a vet, you've got the number of years and the pedigree behind you, the transition should be a lot smoother than a role guy or a young guy or something like that. So I'm not pushing the panic button on him yet. I'm hoping there's still solace. There's still grace with him somewhere.
Scotty, I'm not giving up on Russell Wilson, but to be concerned by Russell Wilson, I think you got to be out of your mind and not be concerned.
Worst numbers through his whole career.
Well, it's how you define your concern and how I define my concern. Right? concern when I'm getting, concern, I almost look at it in sports as almost panicking.
Yeah.
And I don't think it's time to panic because this year's over. So now it's like, let's break it down, see what it is. Is it the coaching? Is it the ability? Is it his, and we've talked about this on this show, is his outside world creeping in and taking too much of his inside world, which is football?
Well, the answer to that's yes.
I think that should be investigated. And it's why I said going into break, I would not play him this week. He came back too soon last year. He was playing pretty good and broke his thumb. Right?
That was self-admission, too.
He was playing pretty good until he broke his whatever it was. And he came back too soon and never was the same. Struggled for 2 or 3 games before he got back right. He's already got a torn lat. And by the way, Tyler, show Dover where the lat muscle is.
Yeah, that's right there, Dove.
Okay.
Right there.
I assumed upper body. I just didn't know 100%.
Yeah. Do anything trying to throw your arm and act like your lat's not involved. And then the hamstring pops up.
Yeah, but is that real, Scotty?
I would not play him next week.
You buy it?
You have to buy right after that?
But do you buy those injuries, or are those just excuses from the agent?
No, I'll buy. I don't think you throw out in today's betting world that a guy's got a torn lat or that the guy's got a pulled hamstring if there isn't something there. Now, I do think there's ages probably protecting him. I just think you got making up injuries, like I said, in the betting world today. Not that anybody's betting on the Bronco game.
You bet the under. That's a solid bet right there.
That's a solid bet right there.
Yeah.
But if that's the injuries, and hear me out. If that's the injuries, I don't play him this week. He didn't play this week. I wouldn't play him in London. I would take the bye week after that. He's going to have 20, 30 days to get that hamstring done, fixed, better. Lat, whatever, better. So I wouldn't play him until after the bye.
Well, it's probably a bit hyperbolic to say that Nathaniel Hackett's job is literally on the line this week. I don't think it's literally on the line this week, although next year, that's a different story. But there's 2 times of a year where coaches can, in theory, get fired. There's a bye week, and then there's the London game. That's it.
Right. Good point.
So if you're Hackett, and there were rumors, by the way, that Russ tried to play in this game, and Hackett said no. If you're Hackett, and it's all going sideways, you've got a quarterback that, he's banged up. And Scott, I'll give you that. I think there's something legitimate to the injury, but when the narrative starts coming from the Ian Rappaports, from the Adam Schefters, when they're the ones that report on an injury, that's because the agent is telling those guys about it, right? Yeah. It's not the team, and that's an agent trying to control the narrative.
Maybe in football. Hey, I'll tell you a secret in basketball. The agents do the same thing, but a whole bunch of front office people saying stuff too.
Yeah.
They want it out too.
Yeah.
Well, I found out last night being at the game, the decision was made on Thursday.
Okay.
And then they held it until Saturday.
So who decided it? The team?
The team.
Hackett decided he's not playing. But Russ wanted to.
Russ wanted to.
Yeah, so that's where I get on the injury. Like okay, so something's there, but how bad is it? And if he wanted to play last week, I think he's probably playing in London because Hackett, he's feeling the.
And he's not. Hackett doesn't have the huevos to tell him no.
No.
You think Hackett's going to go up there and say, no, Russ, I'm going to protect you from yourself? Hackett's too worried about everybody liking him in the building to actually put a foot down and draw a line in the sand.
Well, although he allegedly did it this week, so I agree with you. I mean, there's one guy that controls just about everything in that building right now, and it's Russell Wilson. He's the most powerful man in that building. He doesn't answer to anybody. They all work for him, in essence. So if he really did put his foot down and say, I'm playing, he probably would have played.
Probably would have, yeah.
But that's also. Y'all hear that? Do y'all hear that creak? Listen real close to your headphones. You can hear that creak. You hear that creak?
Yeah.
Damn, that sounds like the door opening for John Elway to come back. Oh, my bad.
I did walk by Rob Walton last night in the tunnels, and he smelled like money.
Yeah?
Yeah, it was awesome.
Well, what does that smell like?
I was unfamiliar with it, so I was just like, somebody told me.
Oh my God, that smells like baby powder and applesauce.
Right.
Yeah, and look, John was there. They were celebrating the team last night. I don't know how much Vic shared on his show this morning, but Vic had a private conversation with John in the little meeting room as we were all waiting for stuff. And I will say, I don't know what John was doing with his boys at halftime, but he was not thrilled by any means as to what he was walking into on a meeting room. So. There is a lot to dissect with this team, and that was one of my biggest questions for today. And I'd love Broncos country to weigh in at 303-504-0925. We just watched a game without Russ.
Yep.
Same results, literally the same exact results. Defense good, offense bad, can't score the damn football. Where are we? There's plenty of pointing to go around, but like quarterback, head coach. Who are we giving the brunt of the blame to for a 2-5 record after what Scott's been saying, 7 years of hell And now we were, 5-6 months removed of celebrating in this city like crazy because the Avs are winning a cup. Russell's coming to Colorado.
Yep.
Joker's doing Joker things. Hell, the Pios hang their banner up over the weekend.
Felt like we were turning into Boston.
Yeah, we were championship city. And then the Broncos fall flat on their face.
Yep. That's a tough question, which one you want to put more blame on, because you've seen a head coach go out there and look like a bonehead from the very first game, the decision to kick the 64-yard field goal that had like a 0.1% chance of going home to all the
especially from McManus, right, Josh?
Are you guys McManus haters? Like, am I learning something here that I didn't know?
I am not a McManus.
Josh is.
Yeah.
Why,
I actually don't
he
like
hates all
kickers
for the most part.
So you hate a kicker that has like been nothing but solid for the team for the last decade.
Yeah.
What happened?
You hate a kicker that's done nothing.
What happened yesterday, though?
Scotty hates him too, huh?
Yeah.
No, I like him, but I've called him before. I've seen a lot of 50-yard, and they're 50-yard kicks, dude. I can't even.
Right.
I wouldn't even think about it. He missed a lot of big kicks that could change games. He tends to miss some big hits. Done it twice this year.
Yeah.
64-1%, but there was another one, a home game, right? He hooked the kick left on a game they lost close.
Yeah, but I know this.
Listen, to blame the kicker for this when you're averaging
Yeah, no, I'm not blaming the kicker.
Right.
11 points a game, the kicker's should be the furthest thing from any kind of discussion. Listen, I think Hackett is over his head, and unlike most people, I'm gonna give you a glimpse in between Scotty's ear. Unlike most people who go directly at the coach, and I think that's fair. I almost said there, well, who hired that SOB? Because, we'll get into the CU issues, right? We'll get into the CU problems. Eventually, there goes, well,
I don't think we have
enough
time for that,
George,
Scott.
and then you got to look at DeStefano because it's DeStefano been running up late. So who's pulling the strings? You better look at that before this gets all fixed. Let's replace the marionette. Oh, that Charlie McCarthy doll needs a new Josh Dover doll. We put all these dolls in here. And meanwhile, we got the puppet master going up here flipping everybody the bird.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, what? Get rid of that dummy. He's flipping the crowd the bird. And the marionette's just going, the puppet master going, dude. So we can get rid of Hackett, and he sucks. And it's his fault.
He lost me. Scotty, what are you talking about? Puppet
But
masters?
we could get rid of Hackett because he's easy.
Yeah,
but I want to know who's pulling all the strings. Who put this talent on the field? Who hired this coach? Right, there's another guy that has brought the talent to this team and hired this coach. Why ain't no one calling George Payton out?
Well, because he's really done nothing but do good things. I mean,
what?
Russell Wilson.
What has he done that's good?
Okay.
Really? You just said Russell Wilson sucks.
Hold on. That's obviously that's the most important thing. I get it. And that's why John Elway, his legacy is going to be defined more as a failure than it was success, despite the fact that he went to 2 Super Bowls and he won one. I got a ring because of it. People remember all the bad stuff and the missed quarterback. So I get it. That's a huge deal for George Payton. But he has done a lot of good stuff with the roster evaluation.
But everybody says that. What is the good stuff? It's like saying when the Nuggets lost Tim Conley. Well, he's done a lot of good stuff. What?
I agree with the Tim Conley thing, but
I mean, you got Joker, but even to his own admission on these airways, you go, well, we got lucky and fell into that.
Blind squirrel analogy.
So what has George Payton done that's so good for this team?
Well, look, I will say you said something earlier. I was Scott. I was campaigning for a quarterback, and they picked Patrick Surtain. I was dead wrong. He was absolutely right on that.
I like the fact that he wasn't scared to go make the move. Like don't lie and say you weren't praising him. Oh, that's I don't know. I got an alarm here.
Yeah, it's 12:30.
I was unemployed previously. Yeah. I don't know. I used to wake up at like 12:30 or something.
Wake up and do something. That's your alarm.
I mean, nobody could sit here and lie that you weren't praising him when he went out and got Russell Wilson. The whole town was praising him for going out and getting Russell Wilson.
Yeah.
Right? And so it hasn't worked out. But you got to love the fact that he put it on the line. He wasn't scared. Unlike Nathaniel Hackett in the second half, not going for it on 4th down. Yeah. I like the fact that George Payton wasn't afraid to go get the guy. Yeah, we didn't have a quarterback.
But hold on now.
And just like let's go back to what you said.
Let's go back to what you said a while ago. If in fact Russell Wilson is done, right? There's something wrong with
world of hurt.
And he'll be the same. That same praise for making that move. You got to look at this cat now. Hey, dude, did your people not tell you that he was done?
Right.
You gave up all the next 3 drafts you gave away. And now you're not getting this, and that's why I think Jerry Jeudy will get moved. I do think Bradley Chubb will get moved because I think they got to replenish the stock. And the one thing that I do like in some of his drafts, but one thing that George Payton does, he likes making picks.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
So if you're gonna be again a 5-11 team, then you might as well get rid of Chubb because you ain't gonna pay him next year anyway. Get something for him. Jerry Judy's about ready to have his contract extended. You ain't going to pay him. Might as well get something for him.
Did George Payton draft Jerry Jeudy? I can't remember off the top of my head.
No.
Right? No, it was.
I don't think so.
John's last.
It was Elway because Elway took 2 wide receivers. It was
KJ
Jerry
and
Jeudy and KJ Hamler.
You're right.
In terms of the trade rumors, okay, there's very few guys that are untradeable on this football team. I do think it'd be a mistake to let go of Bradley Chubb. It feels good right now because Baron Browning looks so good.
Well, he's out now.
Yeah, but he's out.
But he's out
right?
now for the rest of the year.
Yeah, he's out, and I'm telling you, you don't let go of premier pass rushers. You just don't do it. It's finally starting to click with Bradley Chubb. You got to pay the piper for the trade for Russell Wilson. Fine, get rid of Jerry Jeudy, get rid of KJ Hamler, get rid of anybody else. But a premier pass rusher, you don't let those guys go.
I would say to that question of what Jerry. Getting Surtain was good. He also drafted Pookie, right? Javonte Williams is a damn fine draft pick, dealing with injury. That hurts. He did pull the Band-Aid off of the Fangio stuff, make the move. I'll give him credit of swinging the bat for Russell Wilson because you're right, Tyler. I lost my mind when I heard it, just like everybody else did. We all lost our minds because we had been, much like Dan Tanner's desperate for the touch of a woman, we were desperate for the touch of a quarterback, and we got it. So, yeah, we all loved the moment.
Hey, Tanner, seriously, I was just thinking about this. Just read something online a while ago.
Yeah,
I'm being very serious. You need to start watching the movie Mountain Men, and I think you ought to start learning how to cougar hunt.
Oh yeah!
Well, did you learn about the cruise I went on, Scott?
Oh, well, why don't you tell us all?
It's a singles cruise.
He went on a fantasy
almost,
football
right?
cruise.
Okay,
but homo.
Totally
when you say
full of
almost, was almost a cougar?
Yeah.
Almost.
Yeah.
Dan Tanner and Zach Wilson out there slaying in Cherry Creek.
And, Dan Tanner almost pulling a goal.
Dan Wilson.
Dan Wilson. Dan Wilson. Yeah, that's right. Dan, do you even own a suit?
Yeah, but it's not.
That's a no then. That's a hard no.
Hey, either did Vic Fangio. Vic Fangio didn't own a suit either.
All right, let's hit a timeout. We'll obviously keep the conversation rolling. You know what? When we get back, let's change gears a little bit and talk about something cool. And that was what Nikola Jokic did over the weekend. He is now tied with a gentleman whom you may have heard of. He goes by the name Wilt Chamberlain. We'll touch on what Joker did and the Nuggets over the weekend, plus preview a little bit tonight. Want to look around the NFL. Weird things going on in the National Football League. It's PhD in the Bud Light Studios, only on Altitude Sports Radio.
Jokic, left side over to Jeff Green. Christian Brown has it now on the right side. Gets a pick from Joker. Pick and pop, head fake on the 3, got rid of Muscala. Drives on him, layup is up and in. And with that bucket there, Nikola Jokic has his second consecutive triple-double, 11, 10, and 10.
Yeah, you get him on the court and he's trouble. He messed around and got 2 triple-doubles this weekend, did Nikola Jokic. Number 77, yeah, and number 78 to tie the great Wilt Chamberlain. Next up on the list, it's LeBron James. He's way up there at, what is the number, Scott? 105, I believe. But Joker was doing Joker things over the weekend. They celebrated everybody. It was fun to be there Saturday night, man, when they introduced everyone. What did Kyle Speller say when Jamal came out? All he said was, "From Kentucky." And then the place lost its mind.
That was the whole crowd for that whole opening was pretty as good as I've ever seen it, including playoffs, to be honest with you. And I was like, because MPJ got a good hand, a really good hand, and then Jamal got even better. And you're like, wow. And Frick, to be honest with you, Joker got even better. I mean, that whole place went absolutely nuts for Nikola Jokic. And those starters came out, and they were putting a thumping on him to start the game.
Yeah, they were.
Right? And then it kind of went down a bit. Then the subs. The second unit is a mess right now. They played horrible in Utah, great in Golden State, and then horrible last night. And I sit there thinking, you've got to learn how to play on back-to-backs. And when you finally realize it's a mental thing, not a physical thing, because you're in your 20s, right? And you're going to play 20 minutes of basketball. Go play. But you're mentally, when your mind tells you I'm tired, you struggle. And the starters, I think, looked like almost they got it. Now they got all the cheers, they got all the energy. They came out and played with that. And then the second unit came in. Now cheers are dead, adrenaline's dropped. You're sitting on the bench. You're like, God dang, I'm so tired. When are we going in? And they had zero energy. And they didn't have any energy in the Utah game either.
Yeah, Jeff Green led the way. Bones is still gripping way too tight. But I will say this. Dan went and did locker room stuff. I was up in the 260 doing post-game.
I didn't see him there.
Oh, yeah. Hastings is Mr. Locker Room these days.
It's got a sparkling water guide. Yeah, sparkling water guide.
They had it free.
Okay.
So I grabbed me a bottle.
All right. I mean, it tells me a lot about you.
It used to be like
Mountain
6 or 7
Valley.
Dr. Peppers a day, and then
I'm trying not to drink as many
Stones.
sodas, and so I'm trying to get the little bubbly that I like the bubbly.
I already came back. I came back late for my second break ever on the show because
you found the coffee though.
Well, I had to ask about 25 different people where to find a K-cup, but I did find a K-cup because I do need my coffee.
Okay.
Yeah.
So now you know where they are. Everything.
No,
is
there actually were not any.
Empty.
Somebody had to give me a personal K-cup. So on day one, I'm already complaining.
Okay, yeah.
All I'm asking for is some
Get some K-cups up here, okay?
Yeah.
Well, they used to have a real coffee maker. Make some real coffee.
They do have that. I don't know how to do that though.
You're just the button presser of the K-cup. Yeah. There's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah.
Watch out for Dan Tanner. He doesn't fill up the K-cup machine, the Keurig. So
or the spring water or the water thing.
Or the filtered water that we have, yeah. DT just leaves that alone. Also, be careful with your lunch in the fridge. If Mosier's here, he will take a bite of your lunch and then put it back.
Are there established rules on the food in the fridge? Because
I lick everything I bring in here.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
Eat at your own risk, folks.
Right. But I mean,
that's funny because I do the nutmeg on every sandwich you bring in, so that's kind of cool.
Right. I mean, if you see the same sandwich in the fridge for 3 days, I feel like that's open. That's open season, right?
It's what did Al call it, Scott? What did Al call the fridge at work?
He thought it was a community fridge. Somebody goes, I thought it said it's a community fridge. I mean, it's something in there. Dude, he came in there one time. He was eating a sandwich. Next day, he was eating a lasagna. I said, dude, you bring your own lunch? He goes, no, they got lunch
in the community fridge.
By the way, we're having fun here, not talking about the Broncos. There was a really cool moment because they were celebrating the 97, what was the Super Bowl 32 team. Scott, your voice was all over yesterday with the calls and everything. It was really cool to hear that.
I never got a call from them to say, hey, come celebrate with us.
Well, I think they emailed you or something probably.
No, they didn't.
Okay. But getting to I did not talk to him.
Scott
I just
know how
sat
to
there
check his emails?
and listen. I don't know. It's a fair question. Shanny and TD, I mean, they were feeling themselves. They were having fun. I'm sure each of the guys were having a couple pops. But during a little interview, somebody's cell phone just kept ringing. And, you're in the scrum. You're like, hey, guys, silence your cell phone. What the hell are you doing here?
Right.
Whole time it was Shanahan's wife, and she was calling because she wanted to say hello to Terrell. So Shanny finally answers and goes, hey, honey, I'm in a press conference here. And she goes, oh, that's okay. Put Terrell on.
That's great. I got to tell a quick story here. A little name drop on myself here since you brought up Shanahan, but it ties into that. So I only had one free agency where I was like, I was more or less a league minimum guy my whole career. I started 60-some games, but I was like a fringe guy, right? And I had one free agency where I was coveted. So day one, I was playing in Washington, but day one of free agency, Jacksonville flew me down, and I'm sitting there in the GM's office, and my phone is like ringing off the hook, and I keep like trying to silence it real quick, but I didn't want to pull it out and like put it on vibrate because I didn't want to be rude, Mm-hmm. And finally, the GM's like, hey, who is calling you right now? And I look down and I'm like, oh, you know what? I'm so sorry. This is Coach Shanahan. Shanahan was my coach out in Washington. Yeah. And inside my head, I'm like, this is perfect. Great timing,
leverage,
Coach.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
So you know what I did? I was like, hey, you know what? I'm so sorry to do this to you, but he's called me 5 times. I'm going to step out. I'm going to take this call. so inside my head, I'm like trying to leverage this phone call, right? And so Shanahan, he picks up the phone. He's like, "Hey, Ty, listen, we just got hit with this like $18 million cap penalty. We got no money right now, but I brought you into this league. There's nobody in this league that trusts you more than I do. I need 1 year, and I'll pay you. I can't pay you what they're going to pay you this year, but give me 1 year, and I'm going to pay you like nobody in this league will pay you." So I ended up telling Jacksonville, I'm like, I think I'm going to go back to Washington. So they upped their offer, and I'm like, okay, maybe. What do I do, right? Yeah. But so then Shanahan tells me again, he's like, listen, just 1 year. Believe me, your life is going to change, right? So I tell Jacksonville I'm not going to go. I'm not going to sign. I get in the car. I'm driving to the airport, and my driver gets a phone call, and he turns the car around. And I'm like, what are you doing? He's like, hey, they told me I can't let you leave town. And I'm like, oh, my gosh, this is amazing. Like, this is
I think that's kidnapping.
Yeah, I know, right? Yeah. So I go out to eat with the whole Jacksonville staff, their wives and everything. They treated me like royalty. Long story short, or long story long, I ended up, I said the next morning I'm going back to Washington. So I gambled. There was more money on the table in year one. I was going back to Washington. Shanahan said he's going to give me more money than anybody would. And next year, we get into the season, and he's true to his word. And we start our contract negotiations. And 2 weeks later, he got fired.
He was out. Yeah.
So long story short,
and his promise left with
Shanny, that phone call that he called me about 5 different times, that cost me life-changing money.
Oh, dude.
And I've let him know every time I see him. I tell him, hey, you owe me a few million now. You owe me. He said, oh, I'm good for it. Yeah, okay, we'll see.
It was cool to see him and the guys, and you were banging the drum of Nuggets on Saturday night. Shannon Sharp's running around with a Lombardi trophy, taking selfies with fans. Yeah. It was really cool to see, and you'll like this line too, Scotty. We were walking down to talk to Terrell and Mike, and our buddy I almost said his Twitter name. Our buddy @ Paul Klee. He goes,
digital world.
Yeah, right. He goes, let's go talk to the team that's actually good at football. And literally, I wrote this down because I wanted to share. I went down to talk with Shanny and the guys. I come back up, and I missed about half of the third quarter. Going down there and all that stuff. So I come back up and well, right.
No, you didn't.
I go to the game log. I'm like, man, let me see exactly what I missed. I missed a total of 67 yards between two teams and a combined 4 punts in the time that I went down to talk to Shanny. 67 yards total in a half of a quarter between two what are proclaimed to be professional football teams.
Man, I'm that guy already. This is like 2 times in a row. I'm that one-upper. But let me just one-up you again. Okay. All right. So at halftime, I had to go pick up a prescription. I was watching at home, and I had to go pick up a prescription from Walgreens. And later, I knew I wasn't going to get there in time, so I was like, you know what? I'm going to go during the half. I'm going to put it on pause. I'm going to come back. I ended up running another quick errand. I missed like an hour of the game. I come back. The score was like the exact same. Nothing had happened. I'm like, do I need to rewind this thing? I did rewind it, but it was actually more painful to rewind it and watch it than it would have been if I just watched it in real time.
The Broncos are on a DVR schedule basically the rest of the season.
Yeah. Yeah, yes. Pretty much.
Mm-hmm.
I am not sacrificing my weekend. I am not sacrificing my weekend the rest of the football season.
It's a DVR schedule, yeah.
What time's that London game?
I think they're going to kick off at 7:30 in the morning.
7:30. I will not get up and watch it
live.
Not
getting up for that either. That's a DVR event for me.
Yeah.
Plus Halloween party the night before, so
nice.
Somebody's going to be hungover.
Is it Vaughn's?
I wish. Are you in? I've been trying to get invited to that party for 7 years.
I did get invited to it.
Harris would never invite me.
I was actually like, I was awkward because I was in the media and I was like, I don't want the guys to be uncomfortable. Like I don't want them to feel uncomfortable.
What'd you dress as?
I didn't go. I don't know. I felt kind of weird because I knew it was. I got invited the year after they got in trouble, and so I didn't want to be like the next year. I didn't want them to be like all uncomfortable with me. But so I didn't go. But yeah,
you could have dressed up as Woody and somebody being a vacuum host.
PCP, you'd have
Chad
been all right.
Kelly.
Chad
Kelly.
What's Chad Kelly up to these days?
I'd probably be a Colts quarterback again at some point.
What are you, Saskatoon or something? What
he is in Canada,
Colts a couple years ago?
Oh, he is?
Yeah, he is in Canada. Okay. I don't know what team, but he is in Canada.
Yeah. I thought he was like a third guy with the Colts a couple years ago. No?
He was. They let him walk, yeah.
He was on the practice squad.
Mm-hmm. And by the way, they're benching Matt Ryan now.
Hey, you want to talk about a time machine?
7 weeks too late.
Like, do people really realize what was going on in Chad Kelly's life that week? That week, he was about to become the starter of the Denver Broncos.
Oh, football-wise, yeah.
Football-wise.
I thought you meant personally.
I mean, he was there's nobody more popular than the backup quarterback on a bad team, right? Mm-hmm. So he was the fan favorite. And he was legitimately probably 1 week away from getting a crack at the starting quarterback. And his life probably forever altered because of one night.
And now he's playing quarterback in Canada.
Yep.
Whew. Yes. That's my favorite
is that
line.
Chad?
That's Chad Kelly's rap song. Yeah.
No way.
CVs can't stop it. He's got an arm just like a rocket.
CVs can't stop it. I love it.
All-American, he said. Wow. CVs can't stop it, but a guy with a Dyson certainly stopped it there, Chad. All right, let's hit a timeout. We'll come back. Quarter number 2, our lunch hour was just brought to you by our friends over at Slim Chickens. We love Slim Chickens. They got their Mac Bowls back, chicken sandwiches. You can hit a combo of half tenders, half wings. Sauce is outstanding to choose from. 4 locations, Aurora, Parker, Centennial, even for you folks down south in Colorado Springs. Hit up Slim Chickens. Tell them you heard about them right here on the station. And bring me a Mac Bowl, please. It's PhD on Altitude Sports Radio.